This story is specifically about Boston, but it still does come from a local Democrat, I believe, which has got Republicans all angry. And I'll just give you the story. It's really simple, and then you can leave. It is that they're trying to make the B word illegal in Massachusetts. Okay, wait. So it's not just Boston; it's Massachusetts. Proposed law would make the B word illegal. You may be asking, what does the B word mean? I didn't know either. But I realized I can't actually say it on YouTube, so there you go. It's the obvious one. It refers to a female dog. And they're trying to make it illegal if you use the word to accost, annoy, degrade, or demean another person. And I'm going to go ahead and say, I believe this will never pass constitutional muster. You can't make an insult illegal. That's nuts. And not a day goes by that I don't get on my knees and pray to the holy Constitution, the Bill of Rights, that is guaranteeing our rights to self-expression. And guess what? You're allowed to be a mean person in this country. I recommend against it. Okay, calling someone the B word to demean them, it's not going to solve your problems. I know it may feel good emotionally, but in the end, you're not going to accomplish anything. So I would recommend don't harass people, don't be mean, don't insult them, don't use slurs, whatever, right? But I tell you what, I understand the importance of being allowed to. Because we can't define at what point we're talking about political speech and, and someone just being a mean person. The government has made it clear, okay? Our founding fathers made it clear at the formation of this country, the First Amendment. So I don't know how this gets passed. It's insane. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see people going around calling everyone the B word in protest, assuming it gets passed. I doubt it. They're going to shoot this down and be like, are you crazy? Let's read. A Boston Democrat has proposed a state law that would penalize the use of the B word when used to demean another person. The bill, filed by State Rep. Dan Hunt in May, is slated to go before the Joint Committee on the Judiciary Tuesday afternoon. That's today, and by the time you're watching this, it's already gone through, so we'll see what happens. The measure proposes adding 2 sentences to the section of state law that assigns fines and other penalties for various offenses, such as crimes for common night walkers. What? Indecent exposure and disturbers of the peace. What's a night walker? What's a common night walker? Is that a Boston thing? A person who uses the B word directed at another person to accost, annoy, degrade, or demean the other person shall be considered to be a disorderly person in violation of this section, the bill says. I don't see how that's constitutional at all. Alleged violations can either be reported by the person the word was directed at or by witnesses. Oh, a witness. I heard him say the B word at her. Context is irrelevant. According to the bill, penalties would be similar to those outlined in the other subsections of state law, which, depending on the subsection, provide for a fine of not more than either $150 or $200 or jail time of up to 6 months. And there it is, the crescendo. Every problem, all of this has just stopped here in Massachusetts. They are proposing putting you in jail for 6 months for insulting a person. This is why we have a Bill of Rights. Because if we didn't, this would already be law. Because some overly sensitive snowflake despot type figure would be like, I don't like people insulting me. Make it a crime. You'll end up with lèse-majesté laws. You know what that is? In Thailand, if you insult the royal family, they can lock you up, even if you don't directly do it. So there was one instance where apparently someone repeated it as a witness, like, I heard that person say, F the king, and then even saying that. But because they repeated, they're like, oh, you just said it, that you're under arrest. I remember there was one person I know who was telling me the story of where the person was telling the story, and then they immediately stopped and was like, they started looking around all scared, like, oh man, if a cop sees you, hears you do that. So even saying F the king, not even the full word, probably too much. When I was working on a documentary about Thailand, we had to go through a ridiculous amount of scrutiny because we were basically being told, you can criticize the family, the royal family, but you have to be very, very precise in how you do it. Otherwise, no one will ever see the doc. They'll just shut it down, right? So we navigated it in a very, very funny way. Basically just precisely addressing without using certain words. But it's a crazy thing. For everyone else in the rest of the world, you can see the documentary like normal. But imagine what the world would be like if they said you couldn't use the B word. Okay, so does that mean we can't show a documentary? Like if someone in a documentary is passing by and yells it, the speech, would that fall on us? I think the answer would be probably a no. But let's be real, man. Who in their right mind thinks it's reasonable to propose 6 months in jail for a word? This blows my mind. The Massachusetts Republican Party criticized and mocked the bill Monday, writing on Twitter, Beacon Hill Democrats like Rep. Dan Hunt are fearlessly taking on the biggest problems facing the Commonwealth. Do you believe free speech matters? Tired of Massachusetts Democrats dictating what you can say? Come on down to the State House, rooms A1 and A2, first floor. Let them have it. Mass GOP wrote while referencing Tuesday's committee hearing in another tweet. I have to say it. The Democrats have completely abandoned free speech. Now, of course, there's going to be Democrats saying, Tim, you're wrong. There was one ridiculous argument where they said, if we truly want free speech, we must censor individuals because hard, offensive words make people scared to speak. That's literally the argument. I think it was Vox, I'm not sure, but they said that basically because if you go on Twitter and someone can be mean to you, that means you will be less likely to speak, therefore you have no free speech. It's like, no, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And if you're hurt by words, I hate to break it to you, but sticks and stones still exist. And that's going to be a rude awakening when you experience what it's like to get hit with a stone, right? I'm not saying you should or anyone will, but these things happen. That's their argument. No, in reality, say whatever you want, just don't incite, don't direct, don't give instruction, okay? There are limits, and I think that's fair. But how crazy is it that we're at this point? Allsides.com, if you're not familiar, is a bias rating agency for news organizations. They determine if it's left, right, far right, or center. And one of their criteria for whether or not they view you as left or right is that on the right, they specifically address free speech. And on the left, they don't. They're more in favor of restrictions and censorship. And now you have it. Here you go. I understand this is just a Massachusetts thing. Okay, it's not just Boston, it's Massachusetts. And they're trying to ban a mean word. But make no mistake, this will not be the first. This is probably not the first, but it will definitely not be the last. The people who are trying to get these rules on social media are trying to circumvent law. Look at what Beto O'Rourke did by calling on massive financial duopoly, MasterCard and Visa, to suspend the legal sale of legal goods. These people know, because of the Constitution and because of our rights, they can use monopolistic corporate power to get what they want. And that's why I oppose it, full stop. But you will still see it. This is somebody just reaching out. They are testing the waters, okay? Can we get the B word made illegal? Some people might say, well, it's a slur and you're not expressing anything, so fine. That's why you got to be aware of these things. Because slowly over time, they will take away your rights. Mass GOP said, do you believe, we read that already. They go on to say, Hunt's office did not immediately return a request for comment on Tuesday morning. So here's what I want to do. Let's take a look at the actual amendment, okay? This is the amending of the existing law. It says Section 53 of Chapter 272. Any person who uses the word, you can see I have an app that automatically censors words so YouTube doesn't delete my channel, uses the word, the B word, directed at another person to accost, annoy, degrade, or demean the other person shall be considered to be a disorderly person in violation of the section and shall be subject to the penalties provided in subsections A and B. A violation of this subsection may be reported by the person to whom the offensive language was directed at or by any witness of such incident. So let's now take a look at the actual law. I don't know what a night walker is, okay? Common night walkers. Are they saying it's illegal to go out at night? I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to look it up either. Common night walkers, common street. Oh, they're talking about ladies of the night. That's what they're talking about. Both male and female. Now I get it. Persons who with offensive and disorderly acts or language accost or annoy another person, lewd, wanton, and lascivious persons in speech or behavior, keepers of noisy and disorderly houses, and persons guilty of indecent exposure shall be punished by imprisonment in a jail or house of correction for not more than 6 months, or by a fine of not more than $200, or by both such a fine and imprisonment. They say disorderly persons and disturbers of the peace shall, for a first offense, receive the fine, and they go on. Okay, so we get it. It's kind of a weird law because it puts these groups together. Could you imagine, like, you're out in Boston and you look at somebody and let's say they drive past you and splash with water and you're like, you effing B, and they go, oh, the B word, there it is, and they arrest you. And then you're in court And they're like, what are you in for? And you're like, violation of Section 53. And they're like, does that mean you used the B word or you sold your body for money? I think they're not actually, but that's what they're kind of connecting you to, right? I hate to say it, man, but the Democrats have abandoned free speech, and now we're at this point where Massachusetts is actually trying to make the B word illegal. By the time you've watched this, they'll already have deliberated on it. Maybe it'll just be removed. But look, man, a Democrat actually proposed the amendment to the existing law to ban a word. It's coming, okay? The censorship of speech is coming. And fortunately, we have a First Amendment that I hope will never erode beyond where it's at now. There can be some reasonable, adjustments, but not on insults. It's an expression. I got one more segment coming up in just a few minutes. Stick around, and I will see you shortly.